How you doing? My name is Chevis Miller, and I decided to do my abstract on the psychological attributes and personality associations. So my main focus was seeing what associations with personality of athletes translates into business success. And so there was four things that we actually looked at. We looked at malleable and fixed theory. And so what these particular theories stated was that the malleable stated that the qualities can change through effort or education. The fixed theory stated that it can change through intelligence. And so there was also another couple of things that we focused on as well throughout this study is that when it comes to self-motivation, there's three specific things that they focus on when it comes to that. The first thing is the motivation to fail, which something is either really easy or really hard. Which the four guys that I focused on, they took the really hard route in achieving success to a certain level. Another thing was the motivation to succeed, which something was either 50% chance you could succeed or a 50% chance that you could fail. And the last thing, which was something that each and every one of these individuals that I took a look at had, was intrinsic motivation, which was they were all self-determined and they were all self-starters. And last but not least is coping with being chased, which is how did these guys respond when they were under pressure? Did they raise their game, not only their basketball game, but their life game, or did they lower it? So now let's take a look at the four individuals that we focused on. So if you look at this, first and foremost, we have basketball players, which I'm a basketball player, and so I showed a little bit of favoritism and focused on those particular individuals. To my left, we have the retired basketball players. And to my right, we have the basketball players that are still playing. Now, as you look at this, this is what I call the square of knowledge. Each and every one of these players were committed at a certain level. They were dedicated. They had dedication. They worked hard. They were relentless. They were focused. They had what I like to call a case and attitude, which means continuous improvement to a certain level. And they were also disciplined to a certain level. So the first person that we have is Michael Jordan. Now, for those of you who know Michael Jordan, you probably know this right here, which is his symbol. He has socks, he has shoes, he has different teams that he endorses. But Michael Jordan has become a brand name. Just like LeBron James. What people don't realize about LeBron James is he has the #1 high school basketball camp in America. All the top basketball guys go to his camp each and every year and compete for a chance to see who's going to get crowned as the best basketball player in the camp that year. Now, what these two individuals have in common, which was something that was learned over time, is both of them took 7 years to win their first NBA basketball ring. Now, what happened was both of these individuals, I truly believe, are great team players. They know how to build a team around them, and they know how to fill in the pieces in order to help them be successful. Which is also why I feel that Jordan's brand and LeBron James' brand, when you say the name alone, it represents greatness, it represents excellence. And I feel like one of the things that they had in common was discipline. The same approach that they take on the basketball court It's the same approach that they take in business. They want to be the best. They have that casing attitude. They constantly are trying to improve and get better. Now, these other two guys that I have, which are Allen Iverson and Josh Childress, they didn't have such luck. And I know that the reason why that was the case is because there was key areas in their life that they weren't as disciplined. They didn't have that casing attitude. They weren't continuing to try to improve in a specific area. And so in me doing this study, the similarities that every one of these guys had was they were lottery picks in the NBA draft, which means they were the top 13 pick. The differences that they had was the top two, which was Michael Jordan and LeBron James, were not only successful athletic-wise, but they're just as successful, even more successful business-wise. Versus Allen Iverson and Josh Childress, not so much the case. So as we're going over here, we have a couple of beliefs. We have the psychological and attributes and personality associations with time of involvement in sports. And so basically this states that the more time that you're involved in a sport, the more influence it has on you outside the sport. And I believe that to be true because there's things that you need whether you're playing a sport or you're not playing a sport. You got to know how to be committed. You got to know how to be dedicated. You got to work hard. You got to be relentless through tough times. You have to be focused. And more than anything, you have to be disciplined. And so there was a study that was done by Dweck in the article, Can Personality Be Changed? And they did a test of malleable intelligence. And they had 3 different groups throughout that test. They had an experimental group, a control group, and a malleable intelligence group. And so the only difference between those 3 groups was the malleable intelligence group, they had this specific training in order to help the brain. And so what ended up happening with that particular group is those particular students showed significant amount of improvement in grades and in motivation. Now here's where that helps you guys, is that one thing that they've always said about both Michael Jordan and LeBron James, when Michael Jordan was playing, and now that LeBron James still is playing, is they always talked about their intelligence. They always talked about their mind. They do have the athletic ability, but they always talked about how they made good decisions on the court, which translated to off the court. The second thing, as far as a child's motivation and improvement in grades based off of a fixed and malleable theory, grades and performance in the classroom is a direct association with a player's performance on the court. It can be transferred from one entity to the next. I have fun doing this study. I do feel as if the psychological attributes and personality associations, they do have some level of success, some level to do with success on and off the basketball court. Thank you for your time.